Hello there, dear viewer, and welcome to Fallout 4, the game where the path to divinity leads through the sea of junk. Today's build is all about junk, about a guy so devoted to gathering junk and tinkering with it to create remarkable things, he barely has the time for anything else. He's not very social, nor is he particularly concerned about personal hygiene, but he sure can make a weapon out of almost anything. He can even build his own friends. One of the coolest things you can do in Fallout 4 is populating entire settlements and roads with robots of your own making. And this is a perfect character for that. The roleplay of a weird and awkward genius fits, and his perk spread allows you to use most, if not all, robot modifications. The name of the build, Junkyard Genius, comes from a good old mod for Fallout New Vegas, where it was a name of a perk allowing you to modify and create your own power armor bits. And so he prides himself with the highly customized rusty power armor made out of rusty bits of junk nobody else would even look at. With a build like this, you can turn your robots into veritable death machines, and yourself too, due to the terrifying combo of a jetpack on your power armor torso, explosive vents on your power armor legs, and demolition expert in your perk spread. With this setup, you get a wonderfully cheesy attack, especially useful when surrounded, when you fly into the air and then immediately fall back on the floor, causing a rather lethal explosion, killing off the weakest and severely damaging the stronger of enemies. But let's look at the mods first, which I used to create one of the most insane melee weapons you can think of. Yes, love to craft legendary. Yet again I decided to break the game, this time by putting the unique World Series legendary effect on a fully upgraded Ripper. But why? Well, World Series, normally available only in the form of the 2076 World Series baseball bat, has a small chance per hit to launch an enemy away. But when you put it on a weapon that technically hits 5 to 6 times per second, you will be almost guaranteed to have the launch away effect triggered several times per combat. If you think this is way too powerful, well, fret not, you extremely honest and polite gamer person. I also included a completely vanilla and legit way of increasing the chance and magnitude of the World Series Legendary. With the perks spread, you can totally use the vanilla bat with all available super cool modifications and damage increases. Other mods I used are mainly for the rusty and dirty aesthetics. There is one lucky legendary effect place on my power armor too, but it doesn't change too much in the end. So you can have this build in vanilla, you won't replicate my awesome looks, and one bit of the insane mayhem you are about to cause in Commonwealth will happen less frequently, but otherwise you will have a very powerful build with or without mods. Raider Power Armor Chop Shop is a good old mod introducing more upgrades and platings for Raider Power Armor, which I used only for the aesthetic reasons, so you can switch it to something better, especially with PASK Power Armor Skin Pack, which is the mod responsible for the rusty paint job on my T60 and T-something else bits. There's also a mod or two which aren't necessary at all, but will make your experience slightly easier. You will need tons of junk, and scavenging expeditions to the pre-war ruins may as well become the main part of your playthrough, because who cares about quests and like. For that, the mod Worthwile Eyebot pod is excellent. It does what it says. The Eyebots from Automatron will now be able to locate more kinds of useful stuff, and the amount of stuff per mission will also be increased. Manufacturing Extended will allow you to create your own alcohol, which will become crucially important once you unlock the 3rd rank of party boy or girl. At this point you will just be converting grain and melons into luck. Tons and tons of luck. And there is a very little mod fixing the dialogue for the robots you create and then assign them to a shop in your settlement. Now you can actually buy and sell stuff from them, eliminating the need for those pesky, unpredictable humans. Regardless of mods, there is, however, one thing you need the help of actual humans with. It's establishing an adhesive farm. There's no such thing as enough glue, apparently, so try to convert at least one settlement into a hyper-productive Matrut core corn, potato and water farm. A Bernathy farm already starts with everything you need, you'll just need to build much more of it. You can technically mount that one with robots too, but the sooner you can build it, the better. It should be one of your top priorities as soon as you begin your adventure, so you won't have the access to the robot workbench at that stage. Here's the starting special allocation. Strength 4, Perception of 5, Endurance of 4, Charisma of 5, Intelligence of 6, and should be immediately raised by 1 by your special book, and Agility of 3 and Luck of 1. Strength 4 can be a tad annoying for someone who always wants to carry a lot of junk, but you won't spend too much time outside of power armor and you get a strength boost in that. Intelligence should be increased with your special book as mentioned and get 1 rank of training in it in one of your early level ups, so that you can start unlocking both robotics experts and nuclear physicists sooner rather than later. After intelligence is at 8, you should think of increasing your charisma to 7 so that you can get local leader and party boy or girl. Finally, luck will need some increases, but the other two seem much more important. Now, from the strength perks, we need all ranks of Big Leagues, Armorer and Blacksmith. Big Leagues works wonders with a Ripper. In the end, you get a chance to stagger and cut ahead of your enemies several times a second while also damaging everything in front of you at once. With the extended blade modification, the Ripper also deals bleeding damage. Armorer and Blacksmith are not just for your power armor and weapons, but also for your new buildable friends. Perception needs no further training, but we want Rifleman 5, and that's actually one of the top priority perks, as our main ranged weapon is going to be the fabulous Railway Rifle, one of the best weapons in the entire game. With this perk, it gets extra damage and ignores a lot of armor. Demolition Expert increases the damage of grenades and mines, and we definitely want to lob some grenades at times, but more importantly it affects the damage of a missile launcher, which I used from time to time with a freaking target locking OP mod on it. But what is superbly broken is that it also improves the damage of explosive vents you can install on your power armor legs. After you have a jetpack, you can impact land on the ground almost as often as you like, with some breaks to recover AP of course, and so you have high damage explosions centered around you several times per fight, and it's absolutely glorious. Endurance doesn't need any perks, and your defenses will be rather insane in full set power armor at all times, so you can ignore the training too. Maybe if you're not against abusing mods, 1 or 2 fortifying effects on your power armor bits can be forgiven. Charisma, as mentioned, needs to reach the value of 7 so that we can get both ranks of local leader and all 3 of party boy or girl. Now, I know this guy should be an antisocial weirdo, but setting up a network of overpowered robot provisioners is also quite fitting for the character and extremely fun when they suddenly come to your aid somewhere in the world. And the inability to build new crafting benches and places of your choice is mighty annoying for characters who always have something to craft, especially of course on survival difficulty. But yes, the party boy is the one perk you need to max as soon as possible. You see, I recently obtained some wisdom by watching Many a True Nerd video. It turns out the luck bonus Party Boy 3 gives you when you are drunk is calculated separately for each type of alcohol you are currently affected by. So if you drink a bottle of wine, 1 of bourbon and say a beer, that's +9 luck already. There are several different kinds of beer alone, so bringing your luck up to 30 should be no problem at all, even with the base luck of 1. Now, why do we need so much luck? Because it affects the frequency and power of your World Series legendary effect. At luck 30, you will see your enemies fly up and away for literal miles, and it will happen very, very frequently. Especially if you have it on a 6 attacks per second weapon like a Ripper. Yes, precious. Okay, let's move on to the intelligence. We have all the ranks of Gallinat here, although we could stop at 3, which is enough to improve the Railway Rifle to its fullest, but the missile launcher needs Gannat 4 for the targeting computer, and it's not very likely you will find a targeting launcher just laying somewhere. Scrapper is wonderful for your endless robot crafting needs. Science is needed for robots and power armor improvement. A robotic expert could stop at its 2nd rank, rank. Inciting robots to destroy its former allies is usually more than enough. The third rank is here just because I wanted the fellow to be an absolute expert. Nuclear physicist, I hardly use rank 3. Again, for full efficiency, the second rank is enough to, over time, grant you a lot of spare fusion cores you can sell, and you won't have that many ways of making money because we never unlocked Cap Collector. Finally, a few points in luck will improve our World Series if you are using my mods and Raider Power Armor bits. Finally, a few points in luck will improve your World Series if you are using my mods and Raider Power Armor bits. One rank of Scrounger will for some reason be required for some upgrades on that armor, and a few ranks of Bloody Mess grants a constant increase to all damage. We will do a lot of damage anyway, but why not do more? The build is therefore done at level 55, but you should be able to finish it at 50 if you get rid of Scrounger, 1 or 2 ranks of Bloody Mess, 1 of Robotics Experts or Nuclear Physicist and Scrapper, which are all somewhat useful but not essential to the build. Now for the gear, the power armor bits were chosen purely for aesthetic reasons. You are welcome to use a full set of X01, of course. For the weapons, we have the amazing World Series Ripper and almost as amazing Railway Rifle. It is very efficient in terms of action point cost in VATS, it is precise, it deals decent damage per shot, it has a few guaranteed locations around the world, and with the Love to Craft mod I even improved it with VATS Enhanced Legendary modification, as I was using it in VATS all the time. One of the most satisfying things to do with the build is to first sling an enemy away with your World Series Ripper, then switch to your rifle, go in VATS and unload as many shots as you can in one go into an enemy as they fly away or try to get up. Very few enemies can survive this. For some extra OP-ness, the targeting missile launcher was used, especially when flying with the jetpack and right before an explosive landing. On occasions I even used the underused Tesla rifle, and yes, Gauss rifle is objectively better, but Tesla rifle with its chain lightning effect is fun and requires less precision, so it's a very good weapon if a fight gets chaotic. And also Ada was modified heavily to have her own nail gun and deal as much bleeding damage in melee as humanly possible. Sometimes it seemed like she was almost as much of a badass junk Supersoldier as I was. And I think we are quite done here. This is likely my most powerful Fallout 4 character, with all the flying, explosions on landing, launching enemies away, nailing enemies' body parts to the wall, and rather impressive durability. It was a delicious, chaotic, fast-paced power fantasy with a touch of tactics and preparation. Lovely stuff. Do remember to leave a like and or comment or even share the video with your nerdy gamer friends. There's also always an option to give me money. Feel free to do it if you have a nickel lying around somewhere. Remember as well to have copious amounts of mindless fun with the build, and we will see each other again. Bye bye.